Katanya. Headphone ni tak bunyi. Maksudnya headphone ni.
Yang berkaitan dengan pandemik COVID-19, TFM is committed to make sure learning does not stop for our students. Mulakan, we developed a resource site with best practices in distance learning for students, teachers, parents, and school leaders. You can find that at tfmdistancelearning.org. The resources are in BM, English, and Mandarin. We also work together with YTL on their Learn from Home campaign to produce free lessons for people to access during the pandemic. Secara keseluruhan for the program, we have impacted about 130,000 students through 9 cohorts of fellows. We have 452 alumni, and we've worked in 174 schools in 10 states. Alumni program TFM, mereka juga they continue to do work in sektor pendidikan. Some of them have founded their own social enterprises yang fokus terhadap pendidikan in many different ways. So sebagai contoh, we have My Readers. They focus on empowering children through literacy. There's also Chumbaka and Arus Academy. They were founded by our alumni yang fokus terhadap menggunakan STEM and maker education to empower children. And we also have organisasi seperti Pemimpin GSL dan Evolution Enterprise. Fokus mereka ialah terhadap kepada memupuk kepimpinan dalam kalangan school leaders. So they work with middle leaders in schools, pengetua, also pegawai dari pejabat pendidikan daerah dan juga Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri to work with them in leadership lah. Yang terakhir, not very long ago, TFM juga telah memulakan kolaborasi dengan Yayasan Petronas on a new program yang dikenali sebagai program Duta Guru. this is to develop leadership with in-service teachers. So bukan macam fellowship, kerana ini fokus terhadap guru yang sudah bersama dengan KPM untuk masa yang lebih lama, and the focus is to improve their STEM through more leadership training, and the recruitment untuk kohort kedua baru bermula. So jika if you have anyone you recommend to apply who is a SMK teacher dalam bidang STEM, they can look out for it.
Jadi kalau kita boleh katakan fokus TFM ni dia meliputi semua benda lah, bukan pada STEM sahaja atau macam mana?
Yeah, as many ways as we can lah. Like that's also why fokus kami bukan terhadap sektor yang spesifik dalam pendidikan, but more towards leadership, so that leaders, semua leaders, all the leaders that we work with boleh, they can see what they are passionate about in education, and then teruskan misi dan visi Yayasan TFM. Okay,
baik. Kalau tadi mungkin ada orang atau ada audience yang baru turut serta dengan kita pada hari ini. Hari ini kita bersama dengan Teach for Malaysia, bersama dengan Cik Melissa Kong. Sepanjang 10 minit yang pertama tadi kita go through tentang teknikal, iaitu tentang siapa itu TFM, apa yang TFM buat, apa impak TFM kepada masyarakat Malaysia pada hari ini. Jadi tanpa membuang masa lagi, kita semua sedia maklum bahawa TFM ni setiap tahun mungkin dia akan mengeluarkan satu laporan yang dinamakan sebagai Impact Report, betul Okay. Laporan impak tahun 2019 TFM mengetengahkan bahawasanya despite rakyat Malaysia ini sebenarnya mempunyai 12 tahun lebih kurang akses kepada pendidikan, sebenarnya kita dikatakan apabila dikira semula, ditimbang tara semula tahap kualiti pendidikan itu, sebenarnya kita mencapai 9 tahun saja. Jadi mungkin kalau pihak TFM boleh terangkan apakah yang dimaksudkan sebenarnya 9 tahun itu, 12 tahun itu sebenarnya bersamaan 9 tahun saja pada peringkat antarabangsa. Silakan.
Can. So statistik itu, that was from the World Bank Human Capital Project. I think tahun 2018. So what they measured yang 9 tahun itu, that is mereka panggil expected years of learning, that where they adjusted. So mereka bandingkan berapa tahun seorang pelajar akan belajar dekat sekolah, and then tengok pencapaian pelajar tu using, I think it's, they use the international test. So contohnya macam PISA, untuk bandingkan pencapaian mereka across what is expected after 12 years of learning, and then when they adjust for it based on pencapaian Malaysia in these international test scores, they based on their calculations, it works out to about 9 years of learning, even though students are in schools for about 12 years. Yeah, roughly like that lah. We didn't make the report lah. But we have been trying to also understand what is their methodology lah. Yeah.
So kalau berdasarkan angka tersebut, dikatakan kita mencapai 9 tahun kualiti pendidikan itu disebabkan modul sekolah kebangsaan, sekolah menengah ini tidak berkualiti, atau kerana kita ni banyak cuti, ataupun macam mana sebenarnya yang dikatakan mencapai 9 tahun saja?
Oh, I think very susah to say it's like because of one factor or few factors, because pendidikan ni memang is very complicated and complex. I think Malaysia's education system is fair, and there are some things that we do very well, macam accessibility is almost universal. So I think, so berdasarkan statistics from the Malaysian Education Blueprint, pada tahun 2013, enrollment of students in sekolah kebangsaan was 94%, and then it increased to 98% in 2018. So we do well there, tapi there are so many factors also that we need to keep working on to improve, because many factors contribute to learning. Like if your basic needs are not taken care of, tak cukup makan kat rumah, it's also difficult to learn in a class. Dulu saya pun seorang fellow TFM, like I've had students yang they fall asleep in class because they are working outside of school time to support their families, and then it's just very difficult and challenging to learn and to keep up with learning. Things like infrastructure is also challenging. Like even though our education is okay, like we still have like a lot of sekolah daif, especially in places like Serang and Sabah, yang memerlukan banyak bantuan. And we also have a policy kita like doesn't always help our children. Like for example, when you go from SK to SMK, even if you gagal semua subjek dalam UPSR, like you tak pergi ke peralihan, you go straight to form tingkatan 1. And then if you gagal everything in tahun 6, then memang susah to keep up also lah. So even though tiap-tiap hari pergi sekolah pun, like if you cannot keep up, then like macam it is hard to, you don't really maximize learning lah. Yeah.
Okey, jadi berdasarkan situasi tadi yang kita katakan walaupun mereka gagal dalam semua subjek, mereka tetap dibenarkan untuk naik ke, orang kata naik step up lah kan, pergi ke tingkatan 1, tingkatan 2 dan sebagainya. Sebenarnya kalau ikutkan sistem di luar negara, adakah begini atau macam mana sebenarnya?
I think susah nak cakap sebab dekat luar negara ada berbagai jenis sistem. Tapi I think what we need to try to do is move away from a one size fits all model, sebab setiap individu memang unik lah, and it's very hard. You cannot help the student if you try to have a one size fits all lah. Memang there are students who cannot cope. I think I tak berapa pasti like what has worked well in other countries that we can look at. Tapi I think also every context is also very unique. Even dekat Malaysia, like every context is quite unique also, depending on where you are. So there are many factors to consider. Yeah. Okay,
ni just pandangan daripada pihak TFM sendirilah. Bagaimana hari ini kita melihatkan COVID-19 merupakan satu pandemik yang memberi impak kepada semua orang, tidak kira secara sosial, secara ekonomi, individu, keluarga dan sebagainya. Memang memberi impak yang sangat besar. Jadi saya percaya COVID-19 juga memberi impak yang sangat besar kepada sistem pendidikan, utamanya di Malaysia, bahkan seluruh dunia pun menghadapi masalah yang sama. Jadi bagaimana dengan keadaan hari ini, pandemik hari ini, yang pelajar pun tak dibenarkan ke sekolah dan sebagainya, sekolah pun ditutup dan sebagainya, bagaimana perkara ini memberi impak kepada pemikiran pelajar itu sendiri?
I think berdasarkan feedback dari fellow TFM dan alumni TFM yang masih mengajar kat sekolah, ada banyak there's a lot of demotivation from students, even though if they want to study pun susah, if they don't have access, based on a survey yang dijalankan oleh Kementerian Pendidikan, on I think 37% pelajar di Malaysia, they don't have their own electronic device to access online learning. So that's one. And then there's a lot of social emotional stress, I think, from staying at home, and it's hard to want to focus on learning when if your parents also are not able to do the things they normally were able to do in order to put food on the table. So I think that's also what we're seeing a lot, especially especially for our students in Sabah, because we have fellows and alumni in Sempurna. So that's very challenging. And sometimes also like, it's hard for our teachers even to keep track of the students. It's about like, sometimes they don't respond. Then you also worry, but then what can you do also lah, because you're supposed to stay at home. So there are quite a lot of challenges that our students are facing lah. Yeah.
Saya difahamkan juga TFM ada akses kepada seluruh Malaysia kan, Sabah Sarawak juga kan?
We have dulu ada placement fellow dekat Miri. Sekarang pada tahun ini kami ada fellow dekat Sempurna Sabah, dekat Johor dan dekat Selangor dan KL. So the fellows placement bergantung pada KPM lah. So we work together with KPM to place them in different parts of Malaysia. Yeah.
Okay. Jadi adakah berdasarkan feedback daripada fellow-fellow ni, adakah terdapat perbezaan tentang bagaimana orang kata pemikiran ataupun kelas ataupun orang kata sistem pendidikan di antara Semenanjung dan Sabah Sarawak?
I don't think we've ever specifically asked them. I think one big factor that I've gotten feedback on only lah, mostly is to do with connectivity lah. Like it's harder to get access to you have just poorer internet connectivity dekat Sarawak dan Sabah, so that makes it difficult to also keep up with like webinars for teachers to improve, and then also just means the sort of tech that you have with students to teach them is very low tech lah. So a lot of lessons happen through WhatsApp atau Telegram, sebab students can connect there, but then if you want them all to log onto Google Classroom, like susah lah. Yeah.
Jadi kalau kita boleh sum upkan secara orang kata general lah, tahap kebersediaan di Sabah Sarawak itu kurang lah berbanding di Semenanjung untuk menyambut hal-hal berkaitan dengan online learning ni. Betul atau tidak?
Yeah, I think so. Tapi I think secara keseluruhan we still can improve. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, jadi seperti yang semua sedia maklum, di dalam 10 minit pertama tadi TFM ada ataupun Cik Melissa Kong ada berkongsi tentang siapa TFM ini, iaitulah sebuah non-profit organisation yang bekerjasama dengan Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia pada hari ini, dan sejak 2010 lagi. Jadi sepanjang tempoh berkenaan satu dekad ini, adakah terdapat kelompongan tertentu yang pihak TFM atau Cik Melissa sendiri rasakan dalam sistem pendidikan kita pada hari ini?
Kelompongan tu macam like areas to improve ke, like yeah, okay. I think the main thing I feel is that we need to decentralize more, and KPM memang dah memulakan proses itu, but I think we need to do more to empower the leaders when it's being decentralized, because when the system is very centralized, it becomes very slow and more one size fits all lah. Sebagai contoh, like now semua sekolah tutup because of COVID, tapi even in green zones where tak ada case, so banyak ibu bapa pun complain about how sekolah in the green zones are also closed even though tak ada case COVID, and biasanya like I think areas yang all those zone hijau, they also have poor connectivity, so it's like to do remote learning is also difficult usually lah. That's one. I think we, bukan saja KPM, but like everyone, especially orang dewasa, we need to listen more to our students. I don't think, at TFM, we don't think of our students as like leaders of tomorrow. I think they can lead today, but we need to trust them and we need to support them. If not, if not, they will not learn how to use their voice also lah, and then how can they lead in the future. And lastly, I think we need to work together with communities more, and that's why one of our nilai utama is collaboration, especially amongst parents and teachers. And even if you don't send your children to school, or if you don't work directly dengan sistem pendidikan, I think there are ways that people can contribute. That's why the pepatah that we always refer to is like, it takes a village to raise a child. Yeah.
Okay, tadi kita bercakap tentang COVID-19 bagaimana memberi impak kepada sistem pendidikan hari ini.
Yeah.
Bagaimana COVID-19 memberi impak kepada TFM pula sendiri? Kan sebab selama ni kita TFM membawa masuk fellow untuk orang kata menerapkan bahagian leadership dalam kalangan pelajar. Jadi perkara tersebut terpaksa dihentikan kerana sekolah ditutup. Bagaimana TFM hari ini survive dengan keadaan pandemik? Silakan.
So like everyone else, like TFM, like semua kaki tangan TFM, now we are working from home. Our work has pivoted to support our fellows and alumni more in distance learning, and also to help our students based on their needs, because their needs are different depending on where they are at. It means we also have had to, like everyone else, we learned a lot about distance learning very quickly. And we've been looking a lot more at social-emotional learning to try and support our fellows and alumni, and also support so that they can support students to handle the social-emotional stress that COVID-19 has had on everyone. Yeah, especially for students and their families. Yeah, but we are also worried about the long-term effects of the pandemic on education. One of our alumni, dia bekerja kat it's an institute called Research on Improving Systems of Education dekat University Oxford, and then they had a case study dari tahun 2005, where there was an earthquake in Pakistan. So they studied what happened to the students that were not affected by the earthquake in Pakistan, and then students who live near the earthquake. And the students who live near the earthquake, mereka tak boleh pergi sekolah selama agak-agak about 14 minggu. And when they looked at the test scores of those students living near the earthquake, they lost about 1.5 to 2 years of learning based on their test scores. So like an 8-year-old student who didn't live near the earthquake was performing at about the same as an 11-year-old, about a 10-year-old living in an area that was affected by the earthquake. And what they found also is that a lot of it is not so much to do with the earthquake itself, tapi bila pelajar masuk balik sekolah, they cannot keep up with the curriculum, and then they fall behind, and then that results in years of loss also lah. Yeah.
Okay, dalam setengah jam yang pertama ni kita banyak pergi kepada tentang orang kata perkara teknikal lah, tentang siapa itu TFM, TFM bekerjasama dengan siapa, sistem pendidikan di Malaysia dan sebagainya. Jadi sekarang ni saya rasa kita perlu tarik balik ke belakang tajuk ni, dan kita perlu pergi kepada very basic one, pendidikan untuk semua tu. Bagaimana pada kacamata TFM itu, pendidikan untuk semua ni bagaimanakah yang dimaksudkan?
For TFM, I think like access to education is important, tapi we also need we need to focus also on the quality of education, because it doesn't matter if you have access but it's not useful to you. A lot of it also, we always go back to our student vision lah, which is about student leadership, where we want our students to to be able to be leaders of themselves and their communities and also of Malaysia in the future. So that means that we have to, for us, education is a lot about empowering students to learn, and then also not assuming we have all the answers, and also believing that we can and we should be working together with students, with teachers, with parents, with everyone in order to make sure education is accessible to all, and also because we believe that learning is lifelong lah. Yeah.
Okay, kalau sesiapa yang mungkin bersama dengan kita sepanjang sesi dah lebih 30 minit ini, Cik Melissa seringkali menekankan tentang idea leadership ataupun kepimpinan dalam kalangan pelajar. Kenapa di peringkat TFM perkara ini merupakan satu perkara yang sangat penting, bahawa untuk seorang manusia itu mempunyai leadership itu sangat penting? Kenapa?
That's a good question. I think when you lead, if you are a leader, that means you believe that you can change things. And there are a lot of skills that are associated with leadership that are very helpful in driving change and helping you to solve problem, to have more kami kata ownership lah. You have ownership towards your experience, and you have a lot of awareness. So from our student vision, we also have our mereka kata student learning vision from Teach for Malaysia, where if you have leadership as a student or as a human being, you know what you want, you know how to get there, and you also know who you can look for, so that you know who you can look for and what you need to do so you can get there. So that to us is like very basic leadership. It also goes back to a model that we use when we think of kepimpinan, which is like 3 circles, where it's like before you can to lead change, you need to be able to lead others. But to lead others, you need to be able to lead yourself. Yeah.
Jadi kalau mungkin saya boleh faham, the whole concept of leadership ini adalah to be able to change yourself and juga others. So perubahan itu satu perkara yang orang kata satu naratif yang penting juga kepada TFM. Maksudnya dia sejajar lah pendidikan, leadership dan juga perubahan itu sendiri.
Yeah.
Jadi mungkin di peringkat orang kata Cik Melissa sendiri ada apa-apa idea tambahan tentang pendidikan untuk semua itu sendiri yang Cik Melissa percaya kita harus bawa di dalam naratif masyarakat kita pada hari ini?
I think besides sifat kepimpinan, I think curiosity is very important. We need to encourage ourselves to also ask questions, and bukan terima everything at face value. It's important to question. It's important also to listen to what people have to say, especially people you don't hear from a lot. I think that helps you to see things in a more inclusive way, and to see beyond your perspective also lah. Sebab like sebagai manusia, memang we all have our own blind spots. We know our own experience tapi tak tahu tentang pengalaman orang lain. So we also need to be intentional about finding out those things, and finding out different ways that we can help lah. Yeah.
Di peringkat saya pula, saya melihat bagaimana curiosity, insting dan juga sided of stories itu sangat penting untuk kita kuasai sebagai seorang manusia, sebab kita tidak boleh tidak mesti juga orang kata acknowledge diri kita ini sebenarnya kita tak tahu banyak benda. Kita tidak tahu banyak benda. Itu diri saya lah, saya di peringkat saya sendiri saya percaya perkara tersebut. Maka betul lah menyokong kepada orang kata point yang Cik Melissa bawakan tadi, curiosity itu sangat penting. Kita kena seringkali bertanya supaya orang kata pepatah Melayu tu lah kan, kalau apa tak nak tersesat, kenalah banyak bertanya, macam tu lah kan. Pada bertanya sesat jalan is the word. Yes, okay. Jadi mungkin ada orang kata kata-kata akhir sendiri daripada Cik Melissa sebelum kita akhiri sesi dialog pada malam ni. Silakan.
I think just now when you said like we don't have all the answers, tapi actually I think we also have to have keyakinan diri that there are answers that we have and we need to believe in ourselves, and that is the lead self part lah. So I think in summary for me, the challenge of education is very urgent. It's a very, very big problem and it's very complex, and in order to really solve it, memang kami semua perlu bekerjasama to really make a difference, and we shouldn't wait until another pandemic happens again for us to really see like how fragile the system is. We should be innovating now and innovating constantly, because and also take responsibility lah. Like I think it's very important to remember that it's not our children who are failing, but we who are failing our children, and we need to do better for them. Yeah, that's all from me.
Okay, jadi saya mengulang semula lah, highlight semula yang Melissa daripada awal tadi sehingga sekarang. Kita harus percaya bahawa sentiasa ada ruang dan peluang kepada anak-anak kita, setiap mereka, untuk ada akses kepada pendidikan itu sendiri, kerana di akhirnya pendidikan inilah yang mampu mengubah landscape masyarakat kita pada hari ini. Daripada tak tahu kepada tahu, daripada orang kata mungkin buat sembrono, buat sesuka hati, akhirnya mereka buat tu kerana mereka di-guide ataupun dilatih ke arah yang lebih orang kata terarah. Jadi terima kasih kepada semua yang terus serta dengan kita pada malam ni. Kepada Cik Melissa sendiri daripada Teach for Malaysia, terima kasih kerana bersama-sama dengan kami pada malam ni. Dan jangan lupa untuk bersama dengan kita lagi, dan TFM terus support mereka. Support kami juga di minggu depan, insyaAllah akan jadi sesi dialog yang terakhir lah di peringkat Team Selangor. Kita akan bersama dengan Komrad Borneo. Jadi dan itu kita akan dapat perspektif daripada orang kata peringkat Sabah Sarawak pula, bagaimana mereka berhadapan dengan situasi pendidikan dalam keadaan pandemik ni dan sebagainya. Jadi terima kasih sekali lagi kepada Cik Melissa, dan kita berjumpa lagi sehingga akan datanglah, insyaAllah.
Okay.
Bye.
Terima kasih. Bye.
Okay. Bye.